The Beckham family's very public drama is drawing new attention to family estrangement. So last week, Brooklyn Beckham said on Instagram it's his decision to cut ties with his parents, David and Victoria Beckham. He claims they value their public image over family and disrespected his wife, actor Nicola Peltz. CBS News contributor and the Free Press columnist Arthur C. Brooks writes about this in a new article. Now, he says, quote, family estrangement is utterly commonplace. In fact, all the Beckham family spectacle shows us is that the rich and famous are as prone to this tragedy as the rest of us. A 2025 YouGov poll shows nearly 40% of adults are estranged from an immediate family member. Dr. Sue Varma is a board-certified psychiatrist and author of Practical Optimism. She joins us now. So good to have you here.
Thank you.
I mean, families, friends, we've had problems for decades, right? Why are we hearing about family estrangement so much right now?
Yes. So, as a psychiatrist for the last 20 years, I have seen this in my office time and time again. I have seen adult children have a rupture in their relationship with their parents, with their siblings, and it's very painful. But I do think that we live in a culture where it's become more socially acceptable. There's less shame associated with it. The rise of therapy speak. Words like narcissism, toxicity, trauma, gaslighting have made it into mainstream culture. People are becoming more aware that they have options. They're going to therapy more. They're talking about abuse and neglect, and they want more. I do think that there's a lot of expectations on the families for the parents to be the best and do the best, not only financially provide, educationally provide, emotionally provide. And the nuclear family just has too much pressure on it, the kids to succeed. And all of this causes us to have a lot of grievances, resentment, and expectations.
I didn't even know that this was an option to just stop speaking to your parents. I didn't even know you could just say and give no explanation. I have a friend of mine. She had dinner with her daughter 2 days ago, who's 30-something. 2 days later, she gets a letter, a box with a phone. She thought her daughter had been kidnapped because it said, I no longer want to speak to you, and didn't give any explanation. And she thought everything was fine. I didn't even know you could just say, I'm not speaking to you, certainly to your parents.
Yes.
So what causes these can you say, is there something in particular? Is it one thing? Is it a combination of things? I know it's not one size fits all. I realize that.
Yes, it's very
But there has to be some common things.
Absolutely, there are. Look, first of all, this is a very complicated topic, and I think that we never want someone to stay in an abusive situation, right?
Yes.
But when I think about the buckets, there's one bucket of things like abuse, neglect, bad things that happen to a person in the relationship.
Well, we would get that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there's a bucket of good things that never happened. Did I feel validated? Did I feel understood? Did I feel appreciated? Did I feel attuned? Emotional attunement is one of our biggest needs as human beings, that the person that we're in a relationship with, any kind of family relationship, that they understand us, that they have empathy, that they have kindness. And when those things are missing, and instead we have very critical behaviors, harshness in the relationship, a lot of kids say that I never felt loved, I never felt that this person was proud of me, or that they're what we call parentified child. The child has to take care of the emotional needs of the parent because the parent is emotionally immature or financially can't handle it or whatever. So I think that there's that second bucket, and then culturally, all the things that we have made it acceptable to talk about these things. We have made it acceptable to cut things off. Social media has allowed us. So I feel like there's a lot of buckets that can explain this.
So that third one, how we've made it acceptable to do these things, I sort of feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, that this happens a lot more in the United States and perhaps in Britain than it does in other countries. My mother once told me when my sister and I were fighting, and as children do, she once said to me, she sat me down and said, one day we're going to be gone, meaning the elders.
Your siblings are the longest time.
And you will one day find yourself in dire straits, and there's only one other person in this world, not your friends, not your people you work
spouse.
With, one person who's tied to you from birth, and that's your sister.
Yes.
And you should always remember that, even as you are at loggerheads.
Yes.
So what should people consider when they're thinking about estrangement?
How do you head it off at the pass so it doesn't come to this?
Yes. So, Vlad, what you're talking about is also culture, that personal fulfillment in the United States of a very hyper-individualistic society. We put that over the obligation and family responsibility. One thing I see in collectivist cultures is we talk about it's not just going from being dependent to independent. We go from dependent, independent to interdependent, and then dependability. The ultimate goal is, can I show up for someone else? And I think that we have to take sort of inventory in the relationship and say, is this mutual? Is there reciprocity? Everybody wants a village, but nobody wants to be a villager, right? And I think that there's a difference between community and friendship. you cannot like someone and still be in community with them.
Yes.
And I think it's really important because we are facing a loneliness crisis, and it's so important that we show up for one another and have a check-in. Just say, how is everything? Like, am I doing my part? Are you happy with the way that things that I'm showing up for you? What more do you need? Well, nobody wants to take accountability. We don't want to take responsibility, and that is so hard. That we have to take responsibility in relationships to repair, to apologize.
It's really great advice as always. Dr. Sue Varma, thank you very much. Appreciate it.